the channel. Hope you're all doing okay and are well. It is a really nice day today actually. It's a bit cloudy but it's warm, which is good, and yeah, I'm sure you guys watch for the weather update, but yeah, British weather, it's not too bad today. So today guys, we look into a story which is tragic, a little bit horrific, or very horrific as well actually, and yeah, just one that happened not that long ago really, but it's an absolutely terrible story, and ultimately ended with one of the biggest miscarriages of justice and the abolishment of capital punishment as well. So I'm talking about Mr. Timothy Evans, who was executed or put on trial and executed for the murder of his wife, officially, and I'm not sure if a lot of you guys will be familiar with it. It's not as sort of well known as some of the other miscarriage of justice stories like Derek Bentley and Ruth Ellis, but it's definitely a sad story, one that films have been made about and books and documentaries. Yeah, it's really is sort of horrific really. So today we visit his final resting place. We also visit the address where the horrific events took place. So I will give you more info about all of that in a minute, but the address is no longer there. The road name has been changed and the whole area has been redeveloped, but the actual plot where the building was, where the house was, is or has never been built on. So if you look online, people talk about a memorial garden and so on, but there's nothing official online or at the location to say it's a memorial garden. But I'm sure there's a reason why the local council or local authority never built on the actual plot itself and they built around it. So we visit that as well, which was really interesting to see. We also visit a pub which is around the corner from the Rillington Place address, and that's where Timothy Evans drank, as well as John Christie apparently. So the pub was also featured in the movie that was made about the series of events, and it was actually shot, they shot scenes for the film in that pub where Timothy Evans and John Christie used to drink. So we visit that place as well. So guys, I'm going to stop talking just for a minute. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'm going to give you a bit more info on Mr. Timothy Evans. Timothy John Evans was born on November the 20th, 1924 in Wales. As a child, he experienced severe learning and communication difficulties, as well as suffering from a form of tuberculosis in his feet. Now this would mean that he would miss huge amounts of time away from school, which would really affect him. His dad would also walk out on the family when he was a youngster, so although the mum would later remarry, they would severely struggle and suffer hardships. Around 1939, the Evans family would settle in Notting Hill. So it's not the Notting Hill that we sort of think of today, which is very posh and very nice. Back then it was a very much seedy and not very nice area. And the challenging childhood of Timothy Evans would lead him to alcohol abuse and to have violent outbursts. He also gained a bit of a reputation for inventing stories about himself to boost his personality and his confidence and his self-esteem, if you like. In 1947, he would meet a lady called Beryl Thornley, and the two would marry. I think she was a couple of years younger than him, and initially they would both move in with Timothy's mum and her partner. Beryl would fall pregnant and they would need more space, so they would move into a flat at number 10 Rillington Place. So their relationship wasn't the smoothest and the best, if you like. They would often row, and on occasion things would get violent. So in 1948, Beryl would give birth to a baby girl they would name Geraldine, and 12 months later she would be pregnant again. And it was actually during this pregnancy of their second child, that Timothy Evans would walk into a Welsh police station and tell them that he had disposed of his wife's body. So police would investigate. They would in fact find no evidence at all, and this is when Evans would change his story. So he would say to the police that it was actually during the abortion of their second child that Beryl passed away, and the abortion was in fact carried out by John Christie. So John Christie was a gentleman that lived in the same building as them at Rillington Place, but at one of the other flats. So the police would question Christie. Of course, Christie would deny all knowledge and put the blame back on Evans. So by this sort of time, the police had concluded that Evans was a little bit unhinged and unstable, and they just left it. So after a period of time, people actually noticed that Geraldine and Beryl hadn't been seen for a while. So they contacted police. They would come in, they searched the address, and they would actually find Geraldine and Beryl's strangled bodies in the communal washroom, which was at the back of the building. So they would immediately arrest Timothy Evans, charged him with murder. He would give a confession statement to the police at the very beginning. He would later change that and say to them, it was actually John Christie that killed my wife. I only confessed because I feared for my life, and I thought the police would beat me if I didn't confess. So he was charged with murder. During his murder trial at the Old Bailey, believe it or not, it was actually John Christie who would be one of the main prosecution witnesses. So he would go on to give a compelling testimony in court, and that, coupled with the various failings of the police, would lead the jury to give a guilty verdict. So the presiding judge actually placed the black sentencing cap on his head and handed Timothy John Evans a death sentence. So he was executed via hanging at Pentonville Prison 3 months later. So around December 1950, John Christie started telling close friends and family that his wife Ethel wouldn't be around because she'd gone abroad to visit friends, and I think further strange behaviour followed, and he eventually moved out of his Rillington Place flat. So a new tenant moved in, and they were doing some DIY in the property, and while they were doing whatever they were doing, they actually disturbed what was a fake wall, and they would discover what appeared to be a body. So the police came in, they carried out a search, and they would find a further 6 bodies in the Rillington Place address. And tragically, one of those bodies was actually John Christie's wife, Ethel. So Christie was eventually arrested and charged with murder. He was found guilty in the same courtroom that he would gave evidence in rather against Timothy Evans previously. So he was found guilty. He was sentenced to death by hanging and executed at Pentonville Prison on July the 15th, 1953. He was buried in an unmarked grave within the prison grounds. This is definitely very different. So Timothy John Evans's final resting place and where he was laid to rest is just coming up on our right. Should be just behind this white memorial gravestone here. I'm not sure if you can see the writing on the headstone, guys, but it does say in memory of Timothy John Evans, died 5th of March 1950, aged 25, RIP. That is just tragic. He was such a young man. And I think it looks like some sort of memorial card here. We'll see if we can have a look what it says without disturbing it. I'm not sure again how much you can see of it, guys. It does say to Tim, Beryl and Geraldine with much love. Never forgotten, always in our thoughts. From your loving sister Maureen and the nephew you never met, my son David. Bless you, Timothy. I've been told that this place is about 40 acres, which is, well, you can see it's absolutely huge. And it just goes on, and it is incredibly populated and busy, if that's the right word, if that's the right term. Final resting place of Timothy John Evans, one of the biggest miscarriages of justice. So, guys, we have been allowed upstairs in the pub, which is closed at the moment. It's just used for dining. But in the 50s, this was part of the pub. I think it was a theatre as well or something. But possibly Mr. Evans and Mr. Christie, so I'm told, used to drink in here. Potentially, possibly, in this room, as well as downstairs. So guys, we are down the road rather, where the house used to be, and obviously it's been demolished since, but there is a memorial garden in place, and the actual location of where the house was at number 10 was never built upon. So, an absolute horrific, tragic series of events that seem unbelievable, really. And for someone like Christie to stand in court and give evidence against Evans, knowing that it would lead to him receiving the death sentence, it's just absolutely, it's beyond belief. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts, guys. If you've watched the film starring Richard Attenborough, which was made in the 70s, I know the BBC have made documentaries and there's loads of books and bits and pieces that have been written. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. If there's any other info you guys have got and want to add it in the comments for me to read and for the other viewers to read, that would be really great. There is a part 2 coming as well. So I have visited the final resting place of Geraldine Evans and Beryl Evans as well. So that will be like a bit of a follow-on bonus video coming to this. So look out for that in the next couple of days, guys. In the meantime, if you could like the video, more importantly, and subscribe to the channel. I am trying to grow the channel, guys, and I keep saying it. Please subscribe. Just push the button. It really does help the channel grow. I do hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys, and I will see you soon. Thank you.